So let's start. This is the new name of my topic. It's called It's Time to Speak. My name is Mikhail, Misha, whatever name you like. It's like Michel. And I'm a developer in SciTech. Here are some social networks, but I'm Belarusian, so I speak mostly Russian. They are in Russian, so if you don't speak Russian, probably you'll not be able to speak. Let's start. And communication. This is the thing we know from the very childhood. As soon as we start our play with other kids, we start to speak with them. All the time we have some conversations, we play common games, we do common stuff. When we go older, maybe we have other negotiations, we already not every time playing. So I think people from ex-USSR countries can recognize it. And that's like somewhere in a village, young kids are, I think it's beer. We shouldn't drink in the age like these guys. Then in the current age, we have people playing a lot of games. They also do a conversation in there. You see, it's a Fortnite here. Probably you heard about Fortnite. And Fortnite is a cool game if you play with your boys or friends, because you need to have a conversation there to discuss something. If you play alone, it's not so fun. And also we have chats, school chats, currently like personal chats, WhatsApps, whatever, in-game chats, and people are always doing a lot of conversations. And then we go to IT, because we are all developers, all around developers, or some kind of developers, or maybe DevOps, whatever. And then we go to IT, and the main thing we think about informational technologies, as soon as we will learn something, we will find our job, we'll put our ass in the chair there, and start typing. Kind of imagine the typewriter, yeah? So developer is thinking at the very beginning that most of the things he's doing is typewriting. But then, when you start searching for a job, when you move in a position higher and higher, you start figuring out you need something else except coding. And then you start searching, you hear something about soft skills, and you start searching about positions and check what are soft skills required for different careers. You can see this is kind of rating the most popular soft skill for employers and less popular ones. And then you look at this, okay, soft skills. Not a big list. What are the full list of soft skills I need to know to move forward in my IT career? You can find something like this: top 10 soft skills. Okay, top 10 is not so big. You look at this. Yeah, I can do it. Everybody thinks I can do it. But then you start searching further, and you find something like this. Yeah, that's a huge list. Let's be honest. And you feel yourself like, again, who's from ex-USSR countries, can recognize this picture. This is a hedge who's in a fog. It's an animation, and I think it's named one of the best, graphically done animations. All the fog here is done with a pencil. So, and you can see, you kind of lost yourself in this huge list. You start reading it, you start understanding what's happening there, and then you compare it to your roadmap. If you're a developer, you have a roadmap. You need to learn. Like for this technical typewriting you're going to do on your job, and it's much easier if you will compare than this one. At least less, maybe not easier, but at less. And usually people are complaining about soft skills. There's a lot of them, but you need to understand which are the most important ones, which you need to use more, and you start learning first. And this is the skill which is important for almost everything in that list. This is the basic skill, soft skill people have, and somehow with ages they start losing it. That's, I don't know why, but many people just lose this ability to communicate properly, especially on the job-related topics. And this skill is required for you during the whole career. Since very beginning, you start speaking, yeah? You probably, everybody here is already working, so you know that you have interview first. An interview is, the first interview is usually just conversation with somebody. It can be the HR guy or girl or whoever. You have the first conversation, maybe through the email and then the normal one. It can be somebody from technical stuff. When you go to the interview, you have the interview with somebody non-technical, then you have a technical guy. Maybe you speak with a project manager, and a bit higher in your hierarchy. And then you can, it depends on the company. For example, in SciTech, you have ability to speak with somebody who is chief, CEO, CTO, whatever, COO. And these are the typical questions you usually have, some of them, which are stupid as hell, and if you cannot communicate properly, it's really hard to answer these questions. And based on some of these questions, your employer will probably decide if he wants you to be hired. They're stupid. Look at the first one. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? That's like ridiculous. How can I answer this question, especially look now what happened in Ukraine, and like everything changes. You cannot predict it, so your answer a year ago about, especially if you're Ukrainian, where you're going to see yourself in 5 years, it will not happen.
As a comment, it's always good to ask them counter question as the same one. What do you think about it? Where do you see yourself?
Then this question, why should we hire you over the other applicants? That's like you don't know anything about other people who are also going to this position or trying to be on this position. So you also need to have some ability to describe why you are better than some like theoretical other developer who also wants to be on this position. And then you go through all these questions and you see that it's hard to answer them if you cannot speak properly. So you need to know a lot of words, you need to know how to build the sentences which are understandable and clear for your future employee. And another thing you should do on the interview, if you don't do it, usually it's like a bad sign, you should ask. That's what Neo mentioned there. You should ask all the questions you have. If you will not ask, your employee will not be sure if you are kind of a person who can work in a team. Because currently developers barely work like alone. If you are freelancer, you can probably do, but if you are working in a team, you always need to have conversations with your colleagues. If you pass the interview process, you have work. And this is where your communication skills should be even bigger. Because where do you speak on the work? It's a typical one. If you work with Agile and Scrum, you have stand-ups, for example. So you speak for every morning with your colleagues, or you do it once per 2 days, or whatever you have the stand-up days. Then you have plannings. That's where you need to plan the next sprint, for example, the job you're going to do. And you also should speak a lot because you are part of people who are working with this, who are building it. So if you will not like put your effort in the planning, probably there will be something you cannot do, or maybe something wrong for you, and it can cause some problems and delays in the process. And then you have writers. That's another thing where people usually should speak a lot because you need to show, to say what's wrong with the current process you do and what should be changed. Another place is where you need to speak. It's smoke breaks. Like, yeah, you see, smoke and kill, so don't do it. But if, there is a phrase which sounds kind of, the best ideas are usually born in a smoke area. So usually people go there, they relax, they smoke, they think about something, or just stay if you're not smoking. I have a friend of mine, he was working in TomTom. And he wasn't smoking, but all the time when people from his team were going to smoke, he was joining them, just because all the conversations, all these like ideas they have, he also wanted to be part of it. Then we have coffee breaks, pretty often stuff. I think a lot of people outside informational technology think that developers are only drinking coffee and smoking. So during the coffee, you also get the same as smoke. You just need to speak with other people, to bring your ideas, to get ideas from others, to discuss the job you do. Lunch, that's pretty clear. This is another one. You speak not so much here, but this is the funny one. This is a place where you this is the break, let's say, where you can bring like more friendship between you and colleagues because you are doing some fun stuff. And if you are not talking there, again, you're kind of white road. The most important thing about development when you are growing in your skills, it's a salary increase and career opportunities. So if you are not speaking there, it's hard to gain a salary increase. Usually it's just a typical one, like your boss coming to you and, yeah, we'll increase your salary in a couple of percent this year. And then you want to probably negotiate it if you are not agree with it. For this you need to speak with your boss. And you need to show him how can you, for example, improve the project? What is your advantage for the project if you like, and what new you want to bring to this project or to the job you do, and this will show your employees that you are kind of the person who really will do some good stuff for the job, and it's kind of really a thing which you need to increase your salary. Educational plans. I don't know how to, like, we're from different companies, but inside it, for example, we have this stuff where you need to put what you want to learn in the future, what are your goals, and then for employer, it's visible that you are educating. It's another soft skill, self-education. But again, you need to describe it to your boss when you have a salary increase. That I'm gonna learn this or I learn this, because your boss should see that you are kind of improving yourself to improve your project in the future. And then achievements. Nobody increases your salary if you are not doing achievements if the project is going bad. So you need to say, I finished this part of the job and that. But again, you need to speak a lot. Because if you will just say, I just built the header, it says nothing. But if you say, we'll tell a lot about this header, what you need to done in there, it can be a good thing. Career opportunities, more or less the same, and you will talk about leadership in the next talk. But when you're growing in your career, you, for example, from junior becoming a meteor, and then you go to senior, team lead, whatever you go there, architect. You always like your growth is important. Your growth requires you to speak with developers or other people in your company who has less leverage than you. Because you need to help them, they can have any questions, especially juniors, for example. And you should be able to help them, not only say like do this, or like use this piece of code. You should describe him why he should do it, what the advantages of this piece of code, etc. Because if you just bring him a code, it's like, come on. And junior usually will read this code and like, what's going on here? And this is the quote I found, which really describes what is a professionalism. It's the ability to speak with everyone in a common language. So that describes, let's talk about me. I think a lot of people here know me already. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people definitely know me. And they know I like to speak, and I like to speak a lot with different people on different topics. I don't want to say that I'm a professional speaker or whatever, but at least I'm trying to reach the level of conversation when my like the guy I'm speaking, the girl I'm speaking with, understands me, and at the same time I want to understand her or him too, because we have a discussion. And if I can speak, he understands me, but if this person cannot speak, it's like, okay, what do you want to tell me? So if you can speak in a common language with everyone, you can describe any problem with this person on any topic there. And like in the eyes of this person, you kind of be a professional. Maybe it's not true, but you will think, okay, you speak a lot, you speak really beautifully, you speak kind of, maybe you're a professional. And how to speak. That's how to learn to speak. This is a short list which you can do from very beginning of whatever you was born. You need to meet the people. You need to speak with people. Meetups are the great thing where you can come and discuss something with other people. And meetup, I want to say, it's another thing. It gives you another ability. You can speak on a meetup as a presenter. For example, what I do right now. So a lot of people are afraid of speaking public speeches, but the meetup is the place where usually people are not really complaining about this. If you, of course, just not say like. If you speak, somehow they will listen to you and maybe you will see what's wrong with you. If you record it, then you can fix something there. Then you should read. It's not about technical literature. If you will read documentation of React and documentation of Java or whatever documentation, it doesn't mean you will start speaking better because it's a technical reading and it's like really technical stuff in there, not all these beautiful words. So you just need to read some proper literature. It's popular now, I know, it's like everybody has this list, like I read this amount of books during the year, etc. But for IT people, it's not so spread, let's say, so popular. So I suggest to read. I don't read, let's be honest, but I did in the past a lot. So. And expand your horizons. This is another thing. If you will look at the typical developer today, he has a really narrow tunnel of stuff he's interested in. It may be something related to the technology he uses, and maybe something like another hobby he has. That's mostly it. Sometimes you read news, but again, news are not the best place where you can find the normal phrases and a really non-typical stuff. So you should be slightly interested in many different things, I think. No, you shouldn't dig into it, for example. But for me, I think educated person, he has some information about everything he has. Like basic one, you know what are the news around you, because sometimes, I don't know, I'm pretty sure there are some people who don't know there's a war in Ukraine, for example, just because they don't need news. Yeah, that's it, I had a short one. So that's what I wanted to tell you. I wanted to tell about the conversations, about the communications, because that's a big problem even in the company we're working in. And we had a conference last year, end of the year, and some people were talking good in there, but some people were really like nervous, I think. So that's what should be fixed. And for this, just do that stuff. Just read, just meet another people. Today you have ability, if you are interested in something, to discuss it with them. So just do it, otherwise nothing will happen. And remember that currently, developer is not the person who just codes. It's a person who also communicates a lot with other people in a team, with how is it called? With the client, with the team, with your bosses in different situations, with your colleagues right here. This developer hub is literally a place for developers not only to come here while you're working from home, but also to have this communication with your colleagues. Because it's really annoying sitting at home coding something, like maybe having Slack calls. So we want, as a company, that developers come here, have a conversation, maybe some growth in their knowledge, maybe discussing something new technology, React 18, for example, or something else. Yeah, and my social network.